Okay. Hello. I'm Paul from the 2023 team, and I'm just gonna be giving you guys a rundown of Unity, the Unity engine, if you're unfamiliar with it, and how our project works in Unity. This is the computer that we used in the lab. This already has Unity installed on it. If you want to do it on your own device, in the handoff packet, there's instructions. But here, this file right here is where everything is kept. The uh, code from GitHub in the SoS folder. And so to open it in Unity, you double click on Unity Hub. This opens up. I already have it open, and then you click on this one. It's C users softeng admin desktop, and then you'd see School of Science Fall 19 Spring 20. You'd click on this one. This one's called Sandbox. We use this for testing purposes, but you'd want to click on this one. And so I already have it open. So let me just open that. So this is the first scene of the game, the title screen. So it looks kind of weird, but it's not too bad. Even if you've never used Unity before, I personally never used it before, but after these 2 semesters, I feel pretty strong in it. So basically, the scene is where you edit things. The scene tab up here, and then simulator we have that. That's an add-on installed. That's what it looks like on phones. And so when you open up your if you get the app onto your phone and you open it up, this is what it looks like. But it looks kind of weird. It's just like a black screen. And when you click this button up here, the Dorito or the triangle, that is the play button. And so it'll load, and then oh, there's music. That's not. I don't know if you could hear that music, but there was music. That's a unintended side effect. But you could see that it played a video. This is that video is this big black rectangle. It's just so if you see like this is the phone, and like this is the white. This is called a canvas. That's a user interface element. To create one of those, so these are all called game objects: directional light, camera, change scene object, event system. Even these are just children of this. This is why they're indented. These are all called game objects. To create a game object, just right click. You can create an empty one to modify it to your heart's content. You can make a cube, a sphere. You can get effects. We don't have those. Most of these we don't have. It's just mainly 3D object and UI and Vuforia, of course. But UI, how you would create a canvas is you would go create canvas, and then here to create a child of it, you just go on here, right click, and then you could create a. So this is probably an empty, and then we just added components. I'll show you how to do that later. But this one is a panel. That's another UI object. That's where you can hold stuff. Play button is very important. You have a logo. You can have a picture, text to the button. Um, but that's basically how an info button too. So that's basically how game objects work. Um, you can go really in depth with them. Unity is a really good game engine in the sense that it's very popular. So there's a lot of probably thousands of YouTube videos and articles. The documentation is probably good too. But anyway, and of course the camera too. That doesn't really matter because this is UI. So um, with UI, that means that it's static on the screen. No matter how you move the phone, this is going to stay like this, at least for this scene. Um, so you see that there's buttons, and if the app was just this, it'd be a pretty crap app because that's just like a video and a bunch of yellow text. But to change scenes, you would do something like this. So you could click on here. You click on the torque button, so that see, I clicked on that, it activated this, and so now it's selected. We call it the play button. Down here, with buttons, this kind of game object, uh, on click comes with a button, so that's kind of like a built-in method of a button object. And so when you click on it, you can have it do something, right? That's what buttons typically do. So when you go on click, you can do we have something called a prefab, which is just it's like a template that you can create instances from. So Unity, it's not quite, it is object oriented, but it's not quite in the traditional sense. So you can't have like an object constantly be there. Well, you can, but it's kind of wonky. So we just use prefabs. So prefabs are basically chunks, like an object that you can call whenever you want or whenever you need it. So it doesn't need to be there. It's not omnipresent like Jesus, but you can have it. You can call it whenever you need it to be. Um, so you can just say on click. Um, Actually, so I'll just show you how to do. I'll just like restart. So scene manager. Oops, that's not. Where is it? Oh, scene changer. That's the prefab. Prefabs are those blue cubes, and then you go into function. Scene changer is the script associated with this. And then you would go to um, change scene, and so that's the method. I'll actually go into the script, and then this is text that you pass into as a parameter. I'll actually go into the script, so it finds scripts. So this is talk about this. So this is just the folders. They're organized pretty good. So prefabs, um, are in the prefabs folder as they should be. These are pictures, resources, more pictures, scenes. Talk about those in a second, and scripts. So scripts. I mean, the difference between scripts and programming, I don't really know because they're all code to me. You say you're scripting, you're really just writing code. You say you're writing code, you can say you're scripting, whatever. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, what was that called? Scene changer. Yep, this is it. So you can double click on that, go into here, Visual Studio, code. It's all right. Um, so void awake, this is inherent. So when you create a new script, it gives you, I think, void awake, void start, and void step. Void start happens on the very first frame that script is called, or like an object has a script associated with it. When the object first initiates, um, that is the first thing that happens in the void start. And then void step, that just happens every frame. So if you have 60 frames per second, you'll have something happening every frame, so 60 times a second. But you can delete those; it doesn't really matter because it's not really doing much. Um, I have void awake, so this just means don't destroy on load. So that just means kind of what it says. This .game object refers to itself. Don't destroy on load. When something is loaded, when a new scene is loaded, don't destroy this. Because when a new scene, so I'll talk about scenes right now because it seems like an appropriate time. So scenes are kind of, think of them like levels in a video game. So you're playing Super Mario, um, like World 1-1, that's a level. You go on to the next level, it changes. So you don't load everything at the same time because that would just be really unwise because it would make the game way too slow because you'd have to load too many things, too many pictures, too many resources. Um, and so we just divide everything into scenes, which are basically levels. Just think of them that way. So this is the title screen, which is a scene. So that's separate. So when we go to a new scene, we don't take all of this with you. This stays here. And so by doing that, it doesn't lag up the game. Um, so change the scene using load scene. How we do that is we just um, use these. I think most of these are provided for you. I just had to import this with C#, say using instead of import Unity engine.scene management, and then you can call scene manager.load scene scene name. The reason we did this was because this is just probably the easiest way we could think of. So basically, you just parameter what scene you want to go to, scene manager.load scene scene name. That just means when you click the button here that calls scene changer, which is this scene changer, uh, dot change scene, pass in RogerBacon, change scene, pass in RogerBacon, and then it calls that. So yeah, nothing too special. Credits does the same thing except for, I'll go here first because why not? It would be cool like that. Oh, okay, this is you weren't supposed to see that, but this is from last year's team. They had it so they have a different script. I can change this when I'm done with this video because I don't really like this. They say load info scene, so they had it so they would do load info scene, load menu scene, load camera scene, and I just figured that we could just pass in a parameter instead of having to have a function for every single room, for every single scene. Um, you'll hear me refer to scenes as rooms. I'm talking about the same thing. There's a whole big thing with that. But yeah, so they had it so you couldn't pass in the parameters. We just kind of overrid that. We made it so you could pass in a parameter, just to make it easier. I can change that. But when you go there, load. What that's supposed to say is scene changer.change scene. What's that one called? Info screen. Um, Probably. Yeah, I'm not gonna save anything because I don't want to add anything. So this is the info screen or info scene, whatever. This is how it looks on a phone with the simulator. So that's just a picture, canvas, stuff in front of it, text, and then this button, you can go back to title screen by calling that. Simple as, I'll go back to title screen, and I guess that's all you really know there. And so when you click on this, you go to Roger Bacon, and here we are. So when you go into simulator, what is this? This looks kind of weird. Um, but fear not, it's not that weird. I'll make it a little bigger. Um, so you don't see much, but when you click here, this is how you change the XYZ. You can do this. You can go down here. It's like little ants down here. What is this? Um, these are all of the plaques. And it looks really weird, but it's not. It's not. Trust me. So on the left, you can see all our game objects. There's quite a lot more than title screen. These are just all of the plaques. They're named pretty good, like RB434. That means Roger Bacon 434. Obviously, canvas. We have one of those. Um, and so I'll just show you how to add a plaque. I don't know why this one's so large or whatever, but doesn't matter. Um, so when you click on one, say like 348, that's where I'm at right now. Roger Bacon 348. You can see that you have the plaque and you have text, and then when you click on this, it has the text is the child of the plaque, and so when you scan this room with the app, you'll see that this text gets superimposed up here, and then or super I don't know if that's the word. It gets displayed up here and down here. So it's relative, the text, whatever you what a child of the plaque is relative to where the plaque is. And if say like you want to move something, I should show you that too. If you want to move the whole thing, you do like that, do 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 do. Pretty cool. If you want to just move the text, you can do that, but beware that won't move. That'll only move the child. But if you select the parent, it'll move the child and the parent. Pretty cool stuff. So we have those for I think the third floor. The third floor is done. These are really tiny, but it doesn't really. That's no big deal, no sweat. If you're lost and you want to find say like Roger Bacon 328, it's like oh no, I don't know where it is, because it's so tiny. Just go on the left. They're and like I think they're in alphabetical order, so just find 328. Boom, right there it is. Simple, easy. So say you want to make a new one. That is incredibly easy. Right click on top, do game object, view for your engine, image target. These are called image targets. You can name this, I don't know, test image plaque. Why not? And then when you go here, you'll see that, whoa, you'll see that it gets um, spawned in at 000. You can just go ahead and change that, put that down here. Why not? And you'll see that it is a white square. That is odd. That doesn't look like a plaque, but we can change that real lickety split. Um, so when you create a image target, it automatically gives you some stuff. Um, and that's good because this is what you want. Uh, so image target behavior. So this is what how a image target behaves. If you couldn't figure that out, from database, you want to select here. So from type, these plaques are from a database. The database is the one for Roger Bacon. At least it's called Plaques. By default, it's 326. Don't really know why. I'll do I'll do 340. Why not? Um, and so the thing with Vuforia, you don't want to replicate or duplicate plaques. So 340 is already in use. You can see it's right here, and this is already being used. So I'm just going to use this for an example. Don't duplicate plaques. Yeah, just don't do it. Um, And then to get the text, you can make a child of this. You can go to UI. Um, how do you do that? No, I'm lying. I do create empty. Call that. I'll just call it text for now. Why not? Name it something better. Do better than that. You can go to add component here. So this is how you add. Like if you want to add a script, you can make a new C# script, or you can add an existing script. You can add. There's a whole bunch of stuff. You can check it out. It's pretty cool. But right now we want to add something called TextMesh Pro Text, and so you see it's a T. And say so. This is where you type in the text. So let's say I don't know. Um uh, uh do that. Oops. Just do that. You type in that. You see it's not there. Uh, that's not good, but actually, it's not that bad. You could rotate this. You can rotate just about anything. You can rotate it on the 90-degree on the X. There it is. It's huge though. It's really big. And remember, it's relative. The text, the child is relative to the parent. And so when you scan the plaque, it's going to be like 3 times as big as it, and it's not really going to fit on the screen. So how do you change that? You go to scale, go like point 0.1, point 0.1, point 0.1. That I don't know what's the math on that, like 10 times smaller or something. I don't know. But now you can see that this looks horrible, but we're just gonna keep it just a test. You can see that now. I don't like that. I'm gonna. It doesn't matter. You can see that now the text is attached to this, and so you can move it. Um, and also to say it doesn't matter where everything is. You can have it's kind we kind of organize it third floor, fourth floor, first, second. It's kind of organized. It doesn't matter where anything is. You can have everything on top of each other if you really want it to be. It'll be really messy, but you can do that. With Vuforia, it won't matter because with Vuforia, when it finds a plaque, it matches it to the specific plaque. So in theory, 340 should be unique. And so whenever just well, oh, okay. Whenever you find 340, um, it'll go to its children. It'll display, and so um, yeah. So you can have everything. It doesn't matter where anything is. Basically, what I'm trying to say. So yeah. So we have that. Pretty cool. So now we need a few more things with this. You're gonna want to go to this is with Vuforia. It's kind of like a button. It has its own built-in methods. On target found, on target lost. On target found means that when the AR camera finds a plaque, an image target, calls this, but when it loses it, when you like move the camera away, it calls this. And to say, uh, when we spawn this in, instead of a regular camera, like in the title screen, we have an AR camera. That doesn't really change much. It's just when you use your camera, it allows for scanning of AR objects. Canvas, same old. Event system, change scene object, those aren't really necessary. I don't think there's really supposed to be. The directional light, I don't think you'll really need that either, but probably just don't touch it. It works, don't touch it. Or you can touch it if you want, really, it doesn't really matter. Anyway though, um, so you can add 2 new things to here. So on here, you want to do, what is it called? It is called modify info button, another prefab that you can find right here. I think you can actually do this if you really want to. Yeah, you can do that. Or you can do that. It doesn't matter. And what we want to call is change button text. And so I'll show you what this means in a minute. Just call it test, pass and test as text, and then we want to disable button here. So when Vuforia finds an image target, we want to call change button text and pass and test as a parameter, and when we lose it, we want to call disable button. So what does this mean? I will explain it. Don't worry. So this is called modify info button. Change button text. Change button text is oh, those are scenes, not scripts. Modify info button right here. So change button text is what we call when we find one. So that means I should explain what this means up here. So these are I don't know what they're called, but they are um public things that you can change in a scene. So if you go to the canvas, you go to I'll go here. Back button is this one. New info button is this one. So yeah, when you go here, this is gonna just say waiting for a Plaque to scan. Is what that the logic behind that. That's the text. You can change that, and then modify info button. You notice we have a prefab here. So this is. Let me pull this up. Oops. Uh-oh. Oh, now we're good. As you can see, more info button, new text, button label, button label. Uh, so we can set these. So these are basically variables that we can set in a scene to interact with. So new info button is this one itself. So we say the more info button is a new info button. New text and button label are both the text. These things right here, the child of that new info button. And so basically what we want to say is more info button. We want to find it by doing this monstrosity of a statement. More info button dot interactable equals true. Interactable is a what do you call it? Uh, what do you call it? Attribute of a button object. So that just means right now you can't click on this, but now that you activate it, you can. Interactable equals true. You can click on it. These are global, not really, but by declaring them static, they kind of become global. Kind of a cheaty way of doing it, but you know, if it works, it works. So by declaring them static, that just means that you can access them in any other script anywhere else by just saying modify info button dot these, and I call them global just to remind ourselves that they are global. Um, so global.plaqueinfo equals plaque info being what we passed in via right here. So we pass in test. Debug.log, those shouldn't be there. Those are just for test purposes. Those will show information to the console. Don't really need those. New text equals, we want to find the info text. We want to find this in the scene. We change this to more info. So when you find it, the load waiting will change to more info. And then debug log that too. Don't really need it, but whatever. And then when we lose it, disable button, we just check if it like exists. It's a good check because sometimes if something loads and they spawn in the wrong direction or the wrong order, you might get like an error. But we just do this. We just say if it doesn't exist yet, or if it does, or if it's not null, that's what I'm trying to say. We just change it back to waiting, and we can't interact with it, so we change it to false. And so down here, you're probably thinking, what the HELL is this? So this is a if you've made it this far without knowing what a switch statement is, congratulations, that's impressive. But a switch, you should know what a switch statement is. It's kind of just like big if else, but it has a jump table, so it's really fast. So you notice that there's the cases are RB350, RB348. Like, what does that mean? When you pass in plaque info, say for 348, you pass in when you call that, you pass in 348, right? Um, and then when you change the text for the new scene, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so when this becomes interactable, we use instead of the change scene prefab. I got a little sloppy, but it's okay. We just say modify info button. So this one, go to more info room. We just say we call this, and then we just say scene manager.load scene, which is the same thing from the previous prefab, the change scene prefab. We just go to more info scene, which is the scene that I'll show you in a second. And so when we call this, we take the global.plaque info, which is plaque info. So say we pass in 348. Where is that? 348. We passed 348. Global.plaque info becomes 348, RB348 as string. So we switch that. We find RB348 right here. And so global underscore text for new scene becomes this big old string. So what does this mean? So this is just styling. Uh, Text Mesh Pro is a little weird. So it kind of looks like HTML, except you have to have it in a weird kind of way. So like this is a heading. So this whole thing's a heading. You can see line break, line center, colors like green, I think, size 28 pixels, and then this would be the heading text. And so you just attach this to like paste it here. And instead of the text, you'd say RB RogerBacon 350. And then for what am I? Oh yeah, yeah. For just regular text, it's just like this. Yeah. So like this is kind of just placeholder. If you've seen in the demonstration of it, it looks kind of bad, but that's kind of just like placeholder text. It's just like what is it, like green text on yellow background? It looks kind of like vomit, but that's all right. Well, not really, but you guys should probably change this. You don't have to if you don't want to. If you think it looks like cool, um, don't really matter. But this is just kind of placeholder. So this is basically how you get the text to pass into the more info scene, which I'll show you right now. So you click on this button, you go there, yada yada yada. Um, yeah. So you click on this, you go to uh, more info scene, which is right here. It is called appropriately more info scene. So this is what it looks like in the app. Gold, and this should be like green text. Should be, but it's not. But whatever. So this thing is just basically a scroll view. So you can scroll it if there's enough text. You can scroll up and down with the your finger on the app. So in here, you see, notice how it says default text. The way that this is changed on like a dime is when this switches, global text for new scene becomes whatever this is. So for 348, it would say like Roger Bacon 348, something about the room. So how does that get replaced? So in the main camera is one of the first, if not the first thing that get loaded in every single scene. So I figured we could attach the script to that. And so right when the room is loaded, this is going to get called. So immediately change text. A good way to get to a script, you can just like click it right here, and then you can go, it'll pop up the folder, go right here. So immediately change text. What this does is void start. So it's called before the first frame update. This if I don't know, I don't know what that's doing there. So basically you just say text is find content, which is right here. Nope, it is nope, right here. Default text. You would find that in the scene. It's a TMP text mesh pro text object. And then you would just say the text attribute of that would be modify info button dot global underscore text for new scene. It's static, so we can call it using dot notation, and global dot text for new scene would be this stuff. And so the reason we did that was because if we had a new scene for every single room on campus, that would be way too many scenes, and they would just bog down the app. So we've figured that we can just make it replicable and have one scene be shared by every single plaque on the entire campus, which is pretty cool. I think it's pretty ingenious. I don't know about you, but I think it's pretty cool. Um, and so that's basically how that works. It's not too difficult. Um, yeah, it's not too bad. The scene doesn't have a lot going on. This just goes back to Roger Bacon. Um, where here. Um, probably need a way to probably need another global variable to determine where to go back to, because like um if you're in Roger Bacon, actually let me just go back to actually Roger Bacon. I'll just talk about this briefly. So like this is just plaques for Roger Bacon, right? But there's plaques in like Siena Hall. So you'd probably want another scene called Siena Hall. But how would you get to there? From the title screen, you'd probably go to another scene before or after you click this. You probably go to like a select room scene where you could just select or I mean select building scene where you can select like Roger Bacon or Siena Hall. You could just select those, and then you go to appropriately there, and you'd save that into like a global variable, static variable somewhere. And so instead of It's like saying, oh boy, just RogerBacon. You could just call that a global variable. So that's something in the future. You guys are probably smart. You probably figure it out. So back to RogerBacon. Be sure to save. I didn't save on purpose because I don't want that. I don't want that in the app. But the plaque we just saved, we made. It's gone because I didn't save, but that's all right. One last thing I'll show you is how do we get pictures to appear. Let me go to the Y. Flip the Y. Let's go to Professor Shadhari. So like, there's like a nice picture of him. So how do we get a picture of him to appear? So like when we scan his room, uh, text underneath, picture above. So how do we get that to appear? I'll just go to a scene. Anyone in 319? That's Dr. Collar. Brian. Go to 348. I'll just go to a scene. A plaque with nothing. So to do that, you would create another child. You would go 3D object, and you would do a plane, not like an airplane, but a plane as in a. I actually don't know, like a math term. Whatever. You do like I don't know. Name it 348. Uh, picture. Name your stuff like that makes sense. Don't name it like a watermelon or something. I don't know, unless it's a picture of a watermelon. Name it appropriate so it makes sense. Like yeah. Um, this is huge. This is absolutely ginormous. We can scale it. Actually, no. We'll wait a second. Um, we have a folder. Where is it? Resources. Nope. RB Professor Images. We have third floor Professor Images. And you can see that there's one of these things doesn't quite belong. There's a picture of a cat here. I put this in here. What you can do is you can take any picture you want. You can put pictures wherever you want. You might want to organize it. But I have this cat. I'm gonna drag it onto the plane we just made, and look at that. He's upside down. But let me just flip him up. Oops. Yeah, it's a little. Even I'm not too good. There it is. It takes some getting used to get used to the XYZ, but you can fiddle around with it. You'll figure it out. Um, absolutely ginormous cat with a I don't know what he's got, water bottle. Again with scale, we can scale him down. I don't know how big. You'll have to like more fiddling around. That's still really big. I'm about point 0.2. That's pretty large, but that's all right. Um, and so yeah, this is so yeah. Now when you scan 348, if you save this, build it to the app, build it to the phone. Um, when you scan 348, this picture of this feline will now be on top of the text, and so that's how you do that with professor images. And of course, when you pass it in, 348 has all the stuff there. Um, and I suppose that's about it. I got one last thing I'll show you guys. If you want to go to 3D object again, you can do like sphere. Um, and you're going to go like to here. You can go like this, raise it into the air, and so now you have a oh, look at that, a shadow. That's pretty cool. It's like the moon. So now you have a sphere. Um, I wonder if you can do this. No way you can. Okay, so now when you scan the plaque, you'll have say you're facing the wall, you're facing the plaque straight on. You'll see this above it, this below it, but then more towards you, kind of like a 3D, you'll see this really cool looking sphere, a planet that I'd like to explore. That's a wow, that's pretty cool. But you'd see that now. So basically, what I want to illustrate with that is that you don't have to just have um text, pictures. You can have objects. You can attach scripts to this. You can make it move. You can make it rotate. You can have video. You can have sound. You can have effects. So anything you want to do basically, as long as you have a image target set with database, whatever database you're using and that, you can basically go crazy. You can do whatever you want basically. Um, but yeah, that's basically it. You have a lot of freedom to do whatever. And now, after this video, I don't know how long it was, probably really long, probably me rambling for most of it, but you can do a whole bunch. Um, I don't know if I'm forgetting anything. I don't think I am. Let me just go back to scenes real quick. I don't think so. I think that's mainly it. So yeah, that's that's I think that's it. Uh, yeah.